Today on the Winded Podcast, I'm joined by the very funny and talented Taylor Brooke. Taylor talks about her career, her podcast, gives marriage advice, and tells embarrassing stories about herself. The Winded Podcast starts now. Welcome back to the Winded Podcast. My name is Shamus Sullivan, and today I have a very special guest, the very funny, the very talented host of the Taylor Show. Taylor Brooke is with me today. How you doing, Taylor?
I'm great. How are you?
I am very excited to have you on. Like we were just talking about before we started recording, I do mostly sports, and I'm honestly, this is my third podcast of the day, and I've been talking sports all day. So I'm excited to just talk about whatever. And who
Amazing.
better than you?
Exactly. I could talk to a wall. I could watch paint dry and talk to it. I think this is amazing. I'm so excited. And also, you said this is your third interview of the day?
Yes,
So you're brain dead. You're exhausted. You couldn't talk about
that's
sports if
what
you wanted to right now.
just like you have talked about how you don't have any beverage endorsements, so you can do whatever. Coke Zero, if you are watching, you could be the official drink of the Winded Podcast and the Taylor Show. Taylor Show, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll take it. I
Two
love
for
a
one.
Coke Zero. Yeah.
Yes. But so established we're not really going to talk sports. We are here to talk about one main thing, and that's your favorite topic, and that is Taylor Brooke.
Yeah, so that is my favorite topic. I mean, I named my show after myself 3 times, so it's safe to say I like talking about myself, yeah.
So we kind of talked about this before we got on that we are kind of from different worlds. So I'd be very surprised if there's anybody out there that follows both of us. So we're kind of bridging some gaps here. But for my listeners, why don't you kind of tell a little bit about yourself, and we can get into it.
Yeah, totally. So I started in media and entertainment in such an unorthodox way. Radio, which sounds amazing. And anyone that has worked in radio or you're familiar with FM radio, you know that it's a very demanding career. I came into it, like I said, in an unorthodox way. I was in college to be a teacher. I was going to graduate early. So I have my degree in elementary education, pre K to 4. And I was terrified to graduate my junior year of college. I was like, oh my God, this is the real world. What am I going to do? So I thought, okay, I could pick up another major maybe. So I was still figuring this out my junior year. My boyfriend at the time, he was like, I need an internship. He was in marketing. I was like, oh, you should intern for a radio station. That would be really cool. So I sent out an email and I got him an interview. And the morning of the interview, he was like, "Meh, I don't really wanna go." And I was like, "You're not gonna go?" So, if you're familiar to the Philadelphia area, 102.9 WMGK, 93.3 WMMR, that cluster of radio stations. And I remember walking in, I think I was 20 years old, and they were like, "You do not look like the guy we talked to. Also, like, who are you, little girl? Like, you don't have any experience." Like, I'm like, "Hi, my name is Taylor. My parents named me after James Taylor. Like, I'm a big music person. I can play 3 instruments. I write songs. I know classic rock like the back of my hand. Give me a shot. And if you don't like me after a week, you can tell me to kick rocks and I will never bother you again." And they let me hang out for a week. I ended up staying for 5 or 6 years of my career and I worked in FM radio. I ended up working on a morning show, multiple morning shows, but getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, going to bed at midnight because you wanted to go see a show in the city. Crazy trajectory of career. From there, I was like, I think I need to make adult money and I'm going to get a corporate job. And corporate America never saw this coming. I always say I was like the personality hire because they were terrified of everything I did. When you work at a Fortune 500 company and you have the mouth that I do, they get nervous. They're like, oh, okay, like she's a little different. I loved all my coworkers. I had a great time, a great experience, but I hate having a boss in that traditional sense. I'm that person, like, I like to take it under my wing and, like, have a shot at it, have a go at it. So corporate America wasn't for me. I decided I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm gonna start my own boutique marketing agency. I did so. It's called Taylor Brooke Media, and I started my podcast from there, the Taylor Show. Within about 3 months of doing this full time, we got signed with the McCord List Media Network. They're out of Los Angeles, and they're great. They're our network distribution partners, and it's been a roller coaster. It's been so much fun, and the show's about pop culture, entertainment, and a lot of women empowerment.
That's great, and I'm glad you went through kind of the trajectory of your career. I did a little research into you, and you definitely covered some of it, but there is one thing you left off that I just am dying to know.
Yeah.
On your LinkedIn, you were a hostess at Not Your Average Joe's.
I love that you're bringing this up. No one has ever brought this up. Yes, I was.
So I'm
I'm
a
very
restaurant guy. I've done everything, from washing dishes to managing. I've done it all in the restaurant world, and I didn't even have to see that on your LinkedIn to know this girl worked in a restaurant, even if it was for a week. You have the restaurant personality. So, what was it like working for Not Your Average Joe since you haven't talked about it publicly before?
Yeah, I love Not Your Average Joe's. Great organization, great team. I actually when I worked in radio, I worked at Joe's as well. So I was a hostess. I was a to-go girl. Sometimes I did serving. I was I was okay at my job. I always tell one, like, particular story, and I think about it, like, those things that haunt you in the middle of the night where you're like, "Oh my god, I wonder if they still talk about me." There was this poor man who it was, like, maybe 8 p.m. on a Thursday night, and he ordered a pizza, and it was a curbside pickup order, and I was like, "Okay, easy breezy. I'm just gonna go in the back, get the pizza box, put it in his car." And so I did so, and, like, the pizza box won't fit through the window, so I put it in the back seat, and he was so nice, and then he calls, like, 8 minutes later, and he was like, "I don't mean to be annoying, but there was no pizza in this box." And I was like, "How did I do that?" Like, I just didn't feel like there wasn't anything in there. That haunts me, yeah.
There's so many points that you could have realized that there was no pizza in there between physically not putting in there, walking with an empty pizza box that's significantly lighter.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, I had to sneak that in. I wasn't sure if you'd ever talked about that, um but yeah, so Taylor show, um, I'm thinking of it from a search engine optimization standpoint. You probably get a lot of people that think it's a Taylor Swift podcast, and they're not entirely wrong if they listen to it. It doesn't take long for Taylor Swift to get brought up, so you got that's gotta be working in your favor.
I think it works for and against me. Um, Definitely for my favor in the way of I'm a Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift. I would defend her till the ends of the earth. But it works negatively against me when I'm trying to figure out who's covering what's going on in my show, and I'm having to dig through articles and articles of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Like, I love it, and that's amazing. We mentioned, like, I'm from Philadelphia, like, go Birds. We love the Jason Kelce, Kylie Kelce, Taylor Swift of it all. Love that, but it's making it really hard to narrow down my SEO, Taylor, so
Yeah, so yeah, I could see that it's sifting through that, but you have to be getting some sort of they search Taylor, they get you, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna stay for this because it's adjacent. You talk about her enough, and it's you're a Swiftie as well." So they're not exactly, ending up on a sports podcast that doesn't talk about Taylor Swift at all. So I think that's great. One thing when I was going back and watching and listening to episodes of the Taylor show, I came across one story with, when you had Ellie Schnitt on, who before we get into it, Ellie Schnitt, there was a time when Twitter was at its peak where there was nobody funnier on the internet in text. The everything's TikTok and Instagram and it's video now, and obviously Ellie has gone on to have a very good career, but I think it's underestimated, like, it's underappreciated how good at Twitter she was at the time.
so funny. So funny. And in person, just to break the fourth wall, we actually, before that interview, we were locked out of the studio. And this was my first time meeting her. So we were in the hallway together for like 45 minutes. There was not a beat that like she didn't have a quick remark. Like it was a great banter. So she's just like that in real life. So refreshing.
That's awesome. But on the episode with Ellie Schnitt, you told a story about how a famous podcaster indirectly almost ruined your life, and I would love for you to tell that story.
Of course. I love this story as well. So I grew up with Call Her Daddy. I mean, I was in media at the time when Alex Cooper started with Sophia Franklin, and they had this little podcast called Call Her Daddy. Um, it's funny because I still have, like, old Barstool merch with, like, the Call Her Daddy logo, like, that signage, it's so crazy, it's like relic at this point. But I think that's where I got that love of, oh, Alex is saying whatever the fuck she wants to, and she's not apologizing, and I love that. So, throughout my career, I followed Alex, and, like, she's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm proud of her as a fellow woman in the arts. With that, I applied to a job at Unwell on the Unwell Network, and this is when I was about to leave corporate America, and I was like, "Well, if Alex Cooper hires me, I'll work for her. Like, signed, sealed, delivered. I am yours, babe." But, I never changed my cover letter, so I started the cover letter with, "Hey, daddy, this is why you should hire me, XOXO, Taylor." Then I went on to send that cover letter that said, "Hi, daddy," to upwards of 150 maybe recruiters, and I called him daddy, which is so cringy consider I worked in marketing when I worked in Fortune 500. So, like, these were people I came across, and I was just like, "Hey, daddy." Like, so it's so embarrassing.
It's so good, and I don't think anybody. I was trying to think of a better comeback than what Ellie said on the show was that it actually is good that you didn't hear back from any of these people because that may have set some expectations that you did not want. So I think it's good that none of those worked out for you, as horrifying as that probably was for you.
For sure. No, I didn't need Comcast being like, "Okay, hey,
Yeah,
girl."
come on. Yeah, you know, it would have been just like the most elite job, and you're
Yep,
like, you'd have to be conflicted. Like, I know that this is how I got the job. Do I even want this job now?
exactly, and I'm already online talking about it. There
That's great. That's great. So, Taylor, you are married, correct? How
I
long have you
am.
been married for?
We've been married about 2.5 years.
So everybody loves to ask old people that have been married forever for, what's the secret? What's advice kind of thing. I think that, especially the way that the world is now, it's like that's outdated information. So what would you say is the key to a happy and successful marriage? Because 2.5 years in this day and age is longer than most. So
It's
I'm married myself. I'm coming up on 4 years in March, so just in a couple weeks actually. But I'd love to hear just, a younger person's perspective on marriage.
well, first off, congratulations.
Thank
It's
you.
almost your anniversary. Wow, so my advice or, like, my perspective on it is okay, so how Nate and I got together is a different kind of story. So we were friends first. And I had met him and I think he was dating someone else. I was dating someone else. And we like just really loved what we did. He worked at a competing radio station. So our whole career, it was him versus me in ratings. And like for some reason, it was never competitive in that like negative sense, but it was more like, oh, like this is my buddy. And we're like hanging out. So I think my advice is like, if you're gonna get married, also, sidebar, you don't have to get married. Nobody has to get married. Like, unless you find your best buddy, like forever, someone that you just want to like hang around and laugh with and you share the same interests, like that's the person you marry.
I couldn't agree more. And I didn't know that about the competing radio station. I think what you're doing is great with Taylor, 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 but I think that you need to adapt that into a screenplay of it's almost like a heated rivalry thing, but radio stations
Don't
and
get me started on heated
and
rivalry
and
shit.
straight. But so it'll be less interesting for that reason. Um, but yeah, I mean that's a movie right there, or a TV show.
Yeah, okay, I need to trademark this. Alright,
Yes,
I'll sell it
get
to you.
that in print and
Yeah, hit me up.
sounds good. Taylor, I have some kind of rapid fire questions to go through, and we can just kind of it's a this or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
let's go.
dive bar or rooftop bar?
Ooh, I'm gonna say dive bar.
Yeah, I agree. Late night food or breakfast food?
breakfast food at late night.
Okay. Is there, I know Waffle House isn't in Philadelphia, right?
I've seen them here and there. We're big on, oh my gosh, what do we do here for breakfast at night? Not Denny's, IHOP.
IHOP.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I Waffle House is something that I've never come across. I live in Boston, so there's none anywhere around here, but, um, yeah, yeah, I love breakfast food. I don't necessarily eat it at night that often just 'cause there's not really places I mean, I have a IHOP,
Uh,
but yeah. Um, Voice notes or paragraphs?
oh, voice notes.
Voice notes, I want to get into them because every time I do, I'm like, "This conveys it so much easier than text, and it's not misconstrued, you get the point across, and it's just as easy." So
Now, can I
I
ask
think I need
if your wife send you voice notes?
No, not typically, no.
Really? I always feel like it's the wife sending the husband voice notes and they're responding, like,
I definitely send her more voice notes than I receive from her.
"Okay."
Yeah, I think, it's usually, like, if I have a like, when I was bartending, like, it's a quick second, like, say something that's easier than typing, but yeah, voice notes, I think you're either a voice notes person or you're not, and I feel like the people that love them just that's all they don't
Oh,
communicate any other way.
literally me. Yep.
Now, are you a planner or do you wing it?
Planner. Yeah, big planner.
Okay. See, you give off this kind of, like, vibe of, like, all over the place and crazy, but you're a planner. It's
I'm a
interesting.
planner. I think it's because I am such a chaotic, anxious mess all of the time that I have to have some sort of guideline or else I am off the rails. You can't find me.
So I'm with you there, and I could totally relate to that because I have a lot of that chaotic energy too. And life does move a lot smoother when I do plan things out, even um, like the fact that I sent you a Google Calendar invite with a link like a week and a half ago was like I should have given myself an award for that because that's not me. But doing this has honestly taught me a lot about keeping organized. So um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep, me too. 'Cause you drop
So
the
yeah.
ball thing and one person notices and you're like, "I can
Yeah.
never go outside again, ever."
Exactly, exactly. I mean, it's not calling 100 CEOs daddy, but it's pretty much
But it's up there.
it's up there, it's up there. Are you, stay in or go out?
Stay in.
Stay in.
Yeah.
I, I am totally a stay in guy, and when I'm out, it's like, "Alright, how can we wrap this up?"
How can I get home? Yeah.
And it's switched very quickly. It used to be, "How can I get out of my house? How can I be doing something?" And then all of a sudden, it's just like, "I don't want that anymore."
When did that change for you? Because recently it changed for me that way too, and I always say, like, 26, I was like, "Okay, I'm done."
I think I'm 36. I probably noticed it more like early 30s.
Yeah,
But it's like in the like I'm sober now, but when I was drinking, it'd be like I wouldn't even want to go out at night. I'd be like, "Oh, I have the afternoon off. Like, let me go have a couple beers in the afternoon and still be home in time."
yeah. Yep, I
That's
love that.
that's that's the way. And then I'm like, "All right, I really shouldn't be drinking when the sun's out like this. So let's tie this off. Let's wrap this up."
Good.
All right. Give me a hot take that you have that kind of people may not agree with.
God, I have a ton of them. Most recently this is so niche, this is so weird, I don't even know why this is a hot take in my head, but I despise when you're talking to a couple or someone in a partnership and you're like, "How's Bill doing?" "How's Bill?" And they're like, "Oh, well, Bill and I are trying to have kids." Like, "So you're having unprotected sex and, like, I'm supposed to be like, oh, great, I hope Bill gets in it." Like, what? No, I hate that. Ugh.
It
I don't like
is, and I think that there's definitely more awareness to like having conversations like that, but there's still so many people that are like, that don't recognize those boundaries, like and I'm sure you experienced this just not long after you got married, when you start getting the question of, "Oh, when are you having kids?" And it's like the other side of the coin. It's like asking somebody, like, "Hey, when are you going to start having unprotected sex?" Like that's not A to B, but it's getting there. It's essentially what you're saying.
No, for sure, and that I did a whole podcast episode on that because it bothered me so much when people were like, "So when are you having kids?" And they would never ask it to my husband. Never. It was always me, and I was like, "I don't ask Nate. I don't know. I don't fucking know."
And it is like, I think it can be like it's a sensitive subject for people, you know? It's
Very
not
fun.
like there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I think that people don't realize, older generations don't realize that it's not really an appropriate question to ask anymore.
Exactly, yep.
What would you like to be known for a year from now?
I would like to be known for taking up space in rooms where I don't belong. Traditionally, I would not belong.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's a really anybody should strive for that. I mean, I a year ago, a little more than a year ago, I'd never had a microphone in front of my face, and I didn't like being on camera. Just this whole thing. And then I officiated my sister's wedding and did very well. And the feedback that I got from it was a feeling like I'd never felt before. And it was just like, I want to find a way to get this feeling more. Um, so then I started doing like high school hockey reporting and making more TikToks and doing all sorts of these things. And then I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna make my own podcast. Like I don't have in my 30s, I don't have like any sort of training or credentials to like go try and be on the radio or try to do all these other things. But like I have a computer, I can buy a microphone, I can get on Spotify much easier than I thought it was. They'll let anybody on there.
I know. I know.
It's I don't think people realize that because when I the first episode I put out, I think people were like, "How did you do this?" And I'm like, "It was I figured it out in one day," and I'm like, "Oh, I could have been doing this the whole time."
Mhm.
Um, but long story short, it's like whether it's a career or a hobby, I just love doing it. Um, and we'll continue to find ways. And each interview that I have kind of unlocks this next potential to like I've found you, and I have like a calendar full of interviews coming up that I'm super excited about. So I think that's great because 2 years ago you told me that I'd be doing something like this. I would have thought you were crazy.
Right? It's 2 years sounds like it's so much time, but it's really not. Like,
Yeah,
so quick.
yeah, um, yeah. Taylor, this has been so much fun. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on social media and where to find the podcast?
Sure. So my show is called The Taylor Show. You can find it wherever you stream your podcasts. You can also find it on the McCordlisttv.com. We're in partnership with Samsung and Roku as well. So you can find us on your Roku box or on your Samsung TV. That's The Taylor Show. And then I'm Taylor Brooke. It would be funny if I was like, "And I'm Cynthia." No, I'm Taylor Brooke, and you can find me at Taylor 4 underscores Brooke on most social media platforms. You'll be able to see my obnoxious blonde hair and the little blue check mark, so you'll know it's me.
Love it. Taylor, thank you so much for coming on, and I really do appreciate you, spending some time with a smaller creator like myself, and I love that we kind of bridge these 2 gaps of your kind of pop culture entertainment world and my sports world, and I hope people enjoy this.
Well, I gotta have you back on next fall because Philadelphia people, I can't argue with them about sports, but you can, Shamus. So
Uh,
so let's get you on the
yeah, I don't
Taylor
know
show.
if you saw this right here or where over there. I know
I
you said
don't.
it's, the Cowboys logo right there.
My gosh.
So I don't know if you saw, I did throw up in my mouth a little bit when you said "Go Birds," and I don't know if you noticed in the hype video that I put together, I did not use the picture of you with the "Go Birds" sweatshirt. So yeah,
All right,
I
a
saved
little
it.
for you.
So we
Okay.
could definitely, yeah, we can do an episode on Taylor. Where people turn in and they're like, "Why are we talking sports and why are we talking about the Dallas Cowboys?" But I think
That's
we will have fun
I
with that.
love it. We're gonna put it down. It's in the books. It's happening.
Excellent, excellent. Taylor, this was so much fun, and we will see each other soon.
Thank you.